how you started here, and you just mentioned something about the system. You plugged in the system. You eat, breathe, and sleep FFL. This is great. I think I have never heard it that way before, but if you can just expand on that a little bit and tell us, what is the FFL system? What exactly did you do getting started?
Absolutely. So when I started, we didn't have the internet leads. I was running primarily Facebook, and that was the final expense. So the system really is, number one, you got to get plugged in, podcasts, training. That's where I learned 90% of everything we do, not just on the phone, but also in the home, was the podcast. So I took a liking to certain podcasts for final expense. Paul McLean was the 8 steps to final expense was a big one for me, that I learned a lot from. And I simply watched it over and over again, and really just duplicated, because you don't have to be a rocket scientist to be in this industry. I'm more of a watch it a lot over and over and over and just regurgitate. And that's pretty much what I was doing as far as the in-home. Now, in the very beginning, I was not confused about buying and investing into the business. I understood that in order to see the numbers that was going to get me out of my full-time job, I had to be all in. I had to make sure that I had a fresh batch of leads every single dial session. So every single dial session, brand new leads, mixing them in with older leads, being consistently at the office, 7 o'clock in the morning, on the phone, 7:30, 8 o'clock. And if I was the last one to leave, book my appointments, so be it. That's what I did. So, and then reaching out. I think a lot of people take for granted what Family First Life has to offer. Your uplines. I mean, Wayne Carr. I went down to Florida to help another agent, and Wayne Carr allowed us to come in the office and dial, and again helped us. He didn't have to do that, but the people here at Family First Life are so selfless. They want everybody to win. I think sometimes we have an ego, and we don't want to get plugged in, and it comes from within. So the minute I changed that, and I was like, I'm all in. Everybody keeps telling me to call them, ask for help. I did it. Whether that was in home, I didn't know product knowledge. It's funny because I have new agents that come in and it's like, I didn't need to know this about the system or what product to write. I'm like, no, you don't. Just book your appointments, watch the podcast, call me from the home. And that's really the system that I followed, as far as, picking up the phone, calling my upline, or reaching out and saying, hey, I'm sitting with so-and-so, they're 63 years old. What's the best carrier? And it didn't matter whether it made it look like I didn't know what I was doing, because I explained to the clients in the home I was going to be there for them, and I want to make sure they were placing the right product. So I put my ego to the side, and I didn't care about myself in the appointment. It was just that family I was sitting with. So I think that's a huge thing that a lot of successful agents do. They don't look at the paycheck. They don't look at the premium. They're there to solve a problem inside the home, and they're there to get that person covered.
Absolutely. Oh, this is good, man. I love it. Where are you out of, by the way, Ryan?
So I live in Maryland, right near Baltimore. Yep.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. And that when you were making that transition from being a police officer to Family First Life, was everything went smooth? Was it family supportive, or what kind of challenges have you encountered in that regard?
Absolutely. So in the beginning, I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. I was a police officer for 7 years. I had the benefits. I was working towards a pension, healthcare, very secure job, 9 to 5. I knew I was going to have a paycheck. What kind of changed for me was, I got hurt. And when I got hurt on duty, my income dropped drastically, because I wasn't able to put in the amount of hours that I wanted to physically, nor would the job allow me to, because I wasn't any physical condition to be uniform working the secondary jobs, the security details. I was sitting behind a desk. So I kind of, due to the health issues that I was having, I told my wife, and the doctor even told her, she was like, "You're not going to be able to go back to full duty without another injury and fighting for your life." So when I made that transition, there was no plan B. And my wife and my children, because I have two, knew that this had to be done, and Daddy was going to be away for a little bit, and it was just what was going to be necessary to make sure that we were okay later on. So you got to have that conversation. If you're married, if you've got kids, I mean, it'll weigh heavy on you if you're not all on the same page.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, can you maybe get a little bit more detail here and tell us what exactly have you missed? What kind of sacrifice have you made, and why your family was okay with that? How were you? What did that look like? 'Cause I know it's pretty common, right? So I've had that. I've dealt with that. All of us did. So can you kind of expand a little bit?
Yep. Birthdays, holidays, not being home for dinner every night, not getting home till 10, 11 o'clock at night, waking back up, leaving the house at 6 o'clock in the morning, driving 2 hours away. Dependent, my children are dependent on my wife. My wife now has to take that role on of, I'm not 10 minutes away. If the kids are sick, I can't just go pick them up. Sometimes I'm running 2 hours away. Sometimes I'm at the office and I just can't leave. There's things as far as the business that require my attention. So I missed quite a bit, but the mutual understanding is I'm doing this now so that I don't have to miss things later on, because this is such a short period of time that if we put our head down and we grind and we go to work, that we don't have to do this for the next 13, 15, 20 years. This is your own business. Financial freedom, family first life, it is the place. There's nowhere else better to be at than here. If you put everything into it that you have, you'll be able to accomplish more, so much more than you ever thought you could.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really, since you've just been here a little over a year, but I'm really curious to get you on the call a couple of years from now and ask you the same question on how your life changed, because I don't think you're changing anything just yet. It's too early. You still at it, like, you going at it. So like, I like what I think Grady Polson said, like, just put your head down and grind for 3 years and see how it changes. So I'm really curious to get you back on the call, like maybe earlier, just in mid check-in, but also 2 years from now, and just prove all our agents here, and hope, and we know that not everybody's going to keep being here, but just see how your life changed, but the game's on. But can you share a little bit about your goals for this year, Brian? What are you doing?
Absolutely. And I kind of want to backtrack. So Ivan, when I was in the police department before I started Family First Life, my best year was 95 grand. My wife, she worked full time at the casino. The pandemic hit. They wound up laying half of the staff off, and I had no childcare. And because I had to go to work, it's not like I could stay at home with the kids. So I was able to let my wife stay at home with the kids, which working a regular 9 to 5 job would not be possible. So even that very, very small thing that Family First Life has done, I'm not quite sure where we would be at if I was stuck at a $95,000 a year salary and my wife had to stay at home. There's just things that wouldn't be able to be taken care of. It's like car payment. I would have to get rid of a car. The kids wouldn't have everything they need for school. Like, there's a lot of things that we would have to sacrifice financially without FFL. As far as my goals, we're doing a lot of growing. And I think that as a team, as a leader, as somebody that also reaches up and reaches out for help, understanding that, we're powerful in large numbers. So there is no I in team. And when we work together with the people that want to build, which is what I'm currently doing, we're able to bring in a lot of people through different IMOs. In my opinion, if they're not with FFL, they're not in the best situation for their family. So when we're doing recruiting, And I have a recruiter, I have an admin, I have staff, I have an office. These are all things that we need to do, and we just have to multiply. So now it's not just about me having staff. Now it's about other agents that are on Honor and Valor. They now have staff. Now they're duplicating what we're doing. And now this thing, instead of adding, is now multiplying. So as an agency, like I said, honestly, by September, I think we can be at 750 to 800,000. And I'm hoping by January, no later than February, we'll be right at 1 million.
Wow,
So
that's huge. Where are you guys at now?
So we're right at about between 2 to 250 now. We have a lot of people in contracting that are coming out, getting plugged into the system. And then we have more recruiters that are plugging in. So realistically, it's June now. By next month, I think we should be right around probably 325, 350, I think is moderate, is being modest. And we're only going to keep adding to that volume.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I can see you speaking with confidence about that, because I mean, I'm pretty sure you'd agree, you know, getting from 0 to 150, 250,000 is the most difficult part. And then it's taking off from there. You know, you're experiencing, you know, different challenges, but it's like there's no doubts at least. Because I think that's the main thing. Like once you have no doubts, then you can skyrocket. So, but can you talk to us a little bit about your journey from 0 to 200, 250,000? When did you start building? When did you realize that you want to do it? Why? You know, the ins and outs of, if somebody's watching you right now, like saying, "Hey, I want to duplicate what Ryan's doing, and I want to overcome that learning curve for getting from 0 to 250 as soon as possible." What they should be doing? What can you tell us?
Yeah, I think in the very beginning, again, that 0 to 150 is a struggle, and I don't think it really. I'm not gonna say it's becomes easier, but you have to stay persistent. And I think the biggest mind shift between being a personal producer and being a builder is realizing that being a personal producer, you're going to see instant gratification. Meaning you sell a policy today, you get paid in 2 days. Building, it's not, you don't hire, two staffs and start building all these different lead platforms with recruiting and see success overnight. It takes between 60 to 90 days to start seeing that growth. And then I think the biggest struggle that I had because I started growing, I think it was back in, I think it was probably the end of July is when I started growing, and I stopped. I made a huge mistake. And the reason why is it was I'm dumping all this money in, and it's been, 30 days and I don't see anything from it. But it was me not reaching out to other people that were building and saying, "Hey, that's normal." What you have to do is you have to keep plugging in. In order to recruit, you should know how to recruit first. And if you don't know how to recruit, you need to plug that person into somebody that knows how to recruit. So me getting on the phones after a dial session, picking up the phone and calling agents, whether that was people that were unlicensed, people that were licensed, understanding the process, understanding who we were talking to, and being able to literally break a piece of me off and now have a staff member that could duplicate what I was doing. Because I've realized in this business, there's only so many hours in the day. And as much as I would love to work 300-400 hours a week, I just can't do it. But if I have 3 or 4, 2 or 3 or 4 staff members, now I have more hours that are going into my business. So the transition really happened. And again, biggest regret was not building from day one. Biggest regret. And again, ego, hey, I got to learn. I need to know what I'm doing before I can help somebody else. But Ivan, family first life, you can plug them into anybody. There's tons of calls. There's tons of people that will help them while you're in the transition of learning yourself. So that was a big regret, not hiring day one, because even part-time I was doing in January, I think it was a 5-week month. I did 32 or 34,000. Like I should have had staff in January.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Okay. This is good. This is good. I like it. So what clicked? What changed and what made you like realize and start going back again? So it seems like, and again, yeah, when you said that, it took you, I guess you did what you did for 30 days and then you stopped, like, that even if you had, I don't know, 7 million a month issue paid agency, we have those, you can't, can you expect the growth after 30 days? Yes, absolutely. But sometimes it just doesn't happen, right? Even with a $7 million a month agency. So, and that was obviously, you didn't know what to expect. So, and you kind of scale back a little bit. And what clicked for you? What actually clicked for you? What was the biggest mindset shift?
So, and I've talked to Sean Mike, and I think the biggest thing was understanding that this is a process. And Sean always says that you need to look at where you're at right now as an agency. Okay. And then you need to, between 30 to 60 days, you need to reevaluate where you're at. Okay. And not just from an issued paid standpoint, but I really started focusing on the agents that we have, because issue paid numbers always fluctuate, because some of your top producers are going to have great months and some of them are going to have rough weeks or whatever. But if you plug up a volume in and you add more members of the team, then your numbers they don't really fluctuate as much, not as drastically. So the mind shift for me, number one, I went back in it because fear of getting left behind, Ivan. I'm gonna be honest with you. Seeing everybody else plugging in and doing it, I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going to get left behind. I'm producing. It's what, maybe $5,000, $6,000 a month for staff and leads on that small scale. It's nothing, And then once I start seeing, success, I just need to duplicate and add more to it. So I made that change, and I don't look back at all. Quite honestly, I'm scaling up because you can never have too much.
100%. So I like what you said. I have reached out to Sean Mike, right? So, and Sean Mike haven't reached out to you saying, "Hey Ryan, how you doing? How can I help you?" Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't that case. Some of the people don't reach out to their managers from home. Some of the people don't reach out for help, and they're like, well, I wish, like, if my manager called me, that'd be awesome, and my manager is busy. Why are they not calling me? Like they should call me when they have time. Can you kind of expand on that? Why you reached out to Sean and didn't expect him to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually, like I said, I've sat down and even in a group setting, I've talked to Sean, and Sean always says, he's like, the biggest thing, like, nobody's going to be more all in with your business than you. So if you're not the one that's going to reach out, like, number one, like, Ivan, you can't read my mind. If I'm struggling, how are you going to know? If I'm having a hard time, Ivan, I need to come to you and say, hey, Ivan, look, I'm hiring these staff, I'm doing these lead sources, I'm not seeing a lot of success. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing that's working? Right? The only way that we're going to get better is if we reach out, we ask questions, and we grow together. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whose team you're on. We all want to get this integrity deal. We all want to grow an agency of those of us that want to build. We all want to make money. We all want to change other people's lives. So again, reaching out, staying humble is the only way that you're going to be able to grow. And I realize that because this business can be very, very lonely. If you stick to yourself, then it can be difficult. You need to reach out. You need to talk to people. You need to ask questions. People that are where you want to be in this industry are the people that you should be talking to.
Absolutely. And the power of sales conferences, sales trainings. So that's, talk to us a little bit about that as an extension of conversation of reaching out, or I guess if you go to the sales conference, in the way you're also reaching out for help. So talk to us what they meant to you.
So my first conference was in Vegas, and that was right when I got licensed. I think that was in the end of 2019. I was part time. Again, actually no, it was when was Vegas? Vegas was 2020, February 2020. So February 2020, I got there, didn't know what to expect. Never been in insurance, never been to a convention before. Hearing everybody else making money, seeing who was selling, made me realize the same common theme that we always hear: we're not special, we just work hard. Made me realize that I could do it, and I think that gave me the what I needed to say, hey, they can do it. Hall of Fame, it's 400,000. All I got to do is put my head down, go to work, stay humble, reach out, reach up, buy leads, and go to work. I can do it. I talked to a lot of people. Jonathan Persina, 2020. I asked him what he was doing. He told me he flies, he does travel trips. He spends money on leads, and he goes to work. And at the time, I didn't really understand it until I really started buying leads and getting into it. Jonathan Persina, same thing as Steve Giordano. Those guys are beasts, but they're really nothing special because they buy more leads than everybody else. That's all they do different. And it took me a minute to understand that, right? Jonathan Persina, I love him to death. I love Steve Giordano to death. I've had conversations with them as well. They weren't blessed with the king hat of insurance. They work harder than everybody else. So when I figured that out, that they just bought more leads and worked harder, and the game changed.
100%. So that's interesting. So just to wrap it up on the topic, we're gonna dive right into this basics, because that's where the call is getting, going to, sounds like. But yeah, sales conferences are great, national conventions are great, but your duty, your obligation as an agent is to get better for your clients. Go to the next sales meeting in the area, check it out. You're not gonna regret that. And obviously the national convention's about 6 months away, 7 months away. So don't wait, find an event in the area. But it was just little my 2 cents here I wanted to put in. But Ryan, let's go down to this basics, right? So you said Steve and JP, they don't really do anything special. They just buy more leads. And what I also like what you said when we were talking about the team building, you said, I finished with my appointments, then I started interviewing people, right? Or somebody that's not interested at all in building an agency, they should be doing all the other stuff after they actually done their calls to book an appointment. Personal production first. I know that some of the deals out there are screaming, hire everybody from day one. It's all great, we all say, the biggest regret, and for me, it was the same thing. I mean, I wish I started building from day one, right? We would have been in a different place. But let's go down to this basics and talk to us, about the importance of personal production. And we're gonna dive into a little bit of your phone script, and then leads. Let's talk leads after that. So you can start with just importance of the personal production and what your dial days look like.
Yep. So Ivan, the personal production, you definitely can't grow a business unless you are out there, especially in the very beginning. Honestly, I think, I look at a lot of other managers, even at like 500,000, you've got a lot of managers still in the field at $500,000. And it funds the business. It allows you to do more things with that money. And Sean always says, he's like, dump everything back into the business. The only way to dump everything back into the business is on your own pen. So if you're writing a minimum of $30,000, $40,000 a month, your household bills are $6,000, dump $24,000 back into the business. It's going to grow it. And when it grows it, it's going to eventually put more money back into the business or back into your pocket. So you can't even, again, if you're not producing 10, 15, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Sean said it the other day, 15,000, you're broke, right? If you're not doing at least $30,000, you don't have enough money to put into your business. So that means you got to get your personal production up. So you got to keep it high, because now I'm obligated. I've got to pay other people's salary, right? So now I'm responsible for other people that have family that are dependent on a paycheck, and that comes from my personal production.
100%. All right. So talk to us about how intentional you are about dials, and what, most importantly, what do you do for leads right now, as far as how much you're putting in, what leads you're working, Ryan? So reveal all your secrets here.
So yeah, I still deal with I do happy agent leads. I do happy agent leads pros. Those are Facebook drops. I do internet leads. I like the availability of the internet. So you can literally wake up in the morning or the night before, buy the leads. They're there in your CRM. I do direct mail mortgage. I do mortgage leads. I do, if I have to, I'll do aged mortgage not aged mortgage and the aged mortgage final expense. I don't really mess with that too much, but in a niche, I'll dial. But I always want enough leads to dial for 2 days. I think that's very important, Mondays and Thursdays, and running a minimum of 18 to 20 appointments. If, mortgage appointments takes a little bit longer, what I found is during the week, mortgage is usually in the evenings. And then you got the final expense and internet in the morning and the afternoon. So I won't leave my house. I will not leave unless I have a minimum of 8 to 10 appointments a day. If for some reason, because I'm not going to sit here and say it's been perfect, it's been ideal every single day, but if for some reason I don't have my 8 appointments, what I usually do is I'll leave a gap between 8 to 10 for that day, and then I'll dial and I'll do same day appointments, or I'll finish booking up that next day. I think that's very, very strong to also be able to dial in between appointments to get the amount of appointments that you need to hit your numbers. Like they always preach 10K a week or die. So my numbers, I know I have to realistically do anywhere between 34 to 36 appointments a week to make that happen. That's just straight life. Any annuities or whatever else I get, that's all bonus, and that's just icing on the cake. I don't count annuities. Annuities are great, but simplified issued life.
100%. 100%. All right. Well, and where are you at year to date personal production?
I think I'm right at, like I said, I've kind of been fluctuating, and I've been building and hiring and things like that, but I think I'm probably right around, I think either 160, 170 right now. I know I got a lot of stuff that has to issue. No doubt in my mind, by the time December comes, I'll be at 400. I mean, it's just got to get to work. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, the balance is everything. I think, like, if you issuing 400,000 plus a year, like right around 400,000, that's really what it takes to build a business. The rest of the time, if I think, can you like, if you really wanted to, Ryan, can you get to 1 million? Probably, right? So, but you're not gonna build much. So, but I know you're keeping the right balance there. I appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing. So, if you have a couple more minutes to stick around, I wanted to know, and we're gonna turn it to everybody on this call. And if you guys have any questions, if you wanted to learn more from Ryan, if you wanted him to clarify anything, go ahead, unmute yourself, ask him questions. He's a Hall of Fame producer. If you haven't done this kind of numbers, I definitely have at least a couple questions to him about what exactly he's doing.
I have a question.
Shannon, go ahead.
I'm trying to get a flow more consistent and automated. What type of direct mail are you using, or who are you using as your vendor? I guess I should.
So there's a couple different things. The Mail Pro I
Mhm.
do deal with MailPro. There are lead drops, like lead concepts.
Okay.
The final expense direct mail is also really, really nice. It's pretty consistent. Um, and quite honestly, I just locked out 6 different counties in another state, and those should be flowing very shortly. If you don't have the lead flow that you need, you'll see it all the time. Like top producers, they're going to travel.
Right.
I don't know if you've taken one, but if you have family and you're away from family and you're gone for 3 days, like there's no playing around. And I think that mindset really changes, especially when you're spending money on mail drops in a different state. So you can never have too much leads. I mean, if you get hit with leads out of state, then that's just a commitment that you've made to yourself. So I don't think there's any leads that are bad. If you're having problems with the mail, definitely I would plug into the internets. And if I were you, I would also do, I don't know how you feel about Facebook, but they've got game times, the happy agent leads, secure agents. And those usually are filled within like 48 to 72 hours. So it's just timing that drop just right. So if you're dialing for Monday, make sure that thing's in there Thursday evening, Friday morning. That way it's got time for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's filled. You're on the phone dialing for Monday.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Shannon.
All right, Ryan, quick question. As far as staff goes, what do you have in staff? When did you start hiring staff and all that?
So I started right now. I need to hire another one. And the reason why is I'm starting to realize that the more people that are trying to build with me that are also on my team, they're utilizing my staff. So I have an admin stuff for just back office, calling the carriers, things like that. Really takes about 15 to 20 hours, maybe a week max, on a heavy end for me. I've got my admin full time. She also does recruiting, dialing through different lead sources like Facebook, Facebook leads, AMG, Career Builder, LinkedIn stuff, right? And then what I also do is I have another one that's just dedicated to recruiting. And that other one that's dedicated to recruiting also does for unlicensed people that she reaches out to them every 24 to 48 hours, figures out whether they're in class, whether they're still going through the process, figuring out what the status of them, if they're 50%, 100% done, making sure she can get people in and out of class as quickly as possible. And then onboarding into the contracting section. So I'm getting ready to hire another person because we need a contracting person, somebody that's there not only for my contracts, but also for, my 3-4 other legs that I have. Because I made that transition to the build, but I can't force anybody else to. So I just tell people, like, when you're ready and you want to make that transition, I'm here to help you. You can plug into my staff, you can utilize or do whatever you want. But it's also important that other team members that are on my team that are bringing people on, they're contracting through Assurance Bay, all gets handled in a quickly and timely manner. So definitely need an admin, and you can utilize that admin to also do hiring for you.
So you have your admin and your recruiters are doing strictly recruiting. Your admin does admin and recruiting and, a whole bunch of different stuff.
So right now my admin's only does my back office stuff, maybe 2 to 3 hours in the morning. Most of my stuff is taken care of in the morning. After she transitions from that, she does recruiting. So I've got basically two recruiters, and the other one's an admin. And they kind of both, I'm working on them both kind of handling the onboarding process, because what I found is if I were to hire you and get you through the class, you would want to speak to me. I found sometimes it gets very confusing where you have 2 or 3 other people reaching out to you to figure out whether you're in class, what you're doing, what you're not. And I have one person that walks them through that entire process. So I have I say part-time admin, but It's a full-time position. She does my admin part-time, and then the rest of the time she's doing the recruiting. The other one is doing recruiting, and she's doing onboarding, touching it, and helping with the contracting. So that's why to kind of try to keep it as least confusing as possible. I need that third one now because we have people coming in, and contracting is going to start picking up, where that's going to be at least another 20 to 30 hour a week job with getting contracts and stuff squared away.
That makes sense. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right, do we have anything else? Any other questions? I think we might have time for one more here. All right, if not, Ryan, two things. If you can tell us what's behind you, what's on that wall.
Here we go. Did you see that?
That's it.
They
All
want
right,
to fly first class. We want to own the plane.
love that.
In order to
Yeah.
become the 1%, you must do what the other 99% won't. And then this last one over here. I'm coming for everything they said I couldn't have.
Love it. Well, I mean, we all know with Integrity Marketing Group, sky's the limit. So, and
Yes, sir.
if you really want it, you're gonna make it happen.